Good morning, amazing fifth graders. Welcome to Tuesday. How's it all going? It's Ty Tuesday. Looking good, huh? I got a haircut. All ready to go for today. Are you ready to go is the question. So let's take a look at how did dividing decimals. How did dividing fractions go? Well, we're going to take a look at your homework first, see how you did with that. And then after that, we're going to do a new lesson called Stuff Over People. What happens when you have a bunch of stuff and you're dividing among people? Or you don't ever want to take the people and divide it among the stuff. And we'll talk about that also, okay? All right, so let's get right over to the homework for the day. I'll get rid of that. Pop up this quick. All right, so here's the camera. Okay, so let's take a look at last night's homework. Your homework was 4 through 11. You could have either drawn the picture or done fraction strips like it asked you to, or you could have just done it in your mind, because if you had practice time to do the mental math, I know the distance learning kids, we did have some time in the afternoon, and they seem to really start to understand the pattern, okay? So let's take a look at this. Let's remember that our key here, if I put a star up here, a couple of stars, start with whole number, end with whole number. Start with fraction, end with fraction. Remember that? We wrote that yesterday as our stars in our notes. That's what the key is to dividing decimals, okay? So let's draw a picture. Actually, I want to do these two by drawing these two by drawing pictures for them, just to remind you, and then the rest we'll just do in our head, okay? So number 5, if we had to do a picture of it, it tells you what to do. It says take 1/6. So that would be 5 lines down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because look, that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it says shade 1 out of the 6. And then it says cut it into 3 more parts. So you take your 1/6, which is right there. Okay, that's 1/6 of a whole. Pretty small. And then you're going to cut that into thirds. And how much is just this one piece up there, that one little piece? It's 1 out of how many now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 1 out of 18. Start with a fraction, end with a fraction. So the answer is 1/18. Let's go down to number 7. So let's draw a picture of this one. It says draw 3 holes. So we get 1, 2, 3. Cut them all into thirds. And the question really is, how many thirds are there? How many little 1/3s are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Start with a whole number, end with a whole number. 1/5 divided by 5 is 5. Start with a whole number, end with a whole number. 4 divided by 1/6 is 24. Start with a whole number, end with a whole number. Hopefully you guys are seeing a pattern here. 1/4 divided by 6. How many 1/4s would there be in 6 holes? There would be 1/24. Start with a fraction, end with a fraction. 5 divided by 1/4. Imagine 5 of these, all cut into fourths. How many pieces would there be? There would be 20. Start with a whole number, end with a whole number. All right, let's take a look at the bottom. Amy can run 1/10 a mile per minute. How many minutes will it take her to run 3 miles? Now, I actually had trouble with this one because I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be 3 divided by 1/10 or 1/10 divided by 3. But let's say that we did it this way, and we did 1/10 divided by 3. Start with a fraction, end a fraction. You get 1/30th, and you're like, okay, that works. I think that's the answer. But this is where when you have word problems, you have to see, does this make sense? How long would it take her to run 3 miles? She can run 3 miles in 1/30th of a minute? Wait, 1/30th of a minute. What would that even be? 2 seconds? She can run it in 2 seconds? I don't think so. So that's how I got this one. I did this at first, but then I thought, wait, does that make sense? No, it must be, here's the 3 miles. She broke each into tenths. I'm not going to do it for the picture. We don't have time. But what would it be? It would be 30. Start with the whole number, end with the whole number. How long does it take her to run 3 miles? 30 minutes? Now that one makes sense. You see how I use logic? I did put this originally, 5th graders. I thought this was the answer when I first read it, because look, that number comes first. But then I thought about it and I didn't get tricked. Okay, next one. Jeremy has 3 yards of ribbon to use for wrapping gifts. He cuts the ribbon into 1/4 pieces. How many pieces does he have? So that's pretty easy. 1, 2, 3. They're all cut into fourths. And it's just saying, how many fourths does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. Okay, so that was yesterday's homework. Let's dive into today's notes. So let's set up our 3-column notes. Should be doing this at home too. Cohort CD. There you go. Shout out to some of my old homeroom students, Chase and Lily and others that are in cohort B. Why did I say CD? Cohort B that are at home. Hopefully you guys are taking these notes. All right, so we're going to call this stuff over people. Today's date is 3/22 or 23. Oh boy, what do I do? What do I do? I'm stressing out. I got to get my phone out. I think it's the 23rd. Yeah, it's the 23rd. 3/23/21. Still kind of cool date right there. Okay. Let's start with a problem of the day, because we haven't been doing problem of the days, at least with these videos. So a problem of the day, let's do this one. Let's do 6 divided by 1/6. You could either Miss Smith and Miss Lindsay can pause the video if you're at home. Why don't you pause it and go ahead and talk about this one, or try it. Either draw the picture, or some of you probably already know the answer. All right, so coming back, the answer is 18. Start with a whole number, end with a whole number. Now, if you drew 6 different boxes, you should have cut them all into 6. How many would there be? 18 of them. Okay, so the big note for today, I'm going to put it over here. 2 stars, okay? The big thing to remember for today's lesson is don't be a murderer. I think that's how you spell it. Don't be a murderer. Now, you know when I have funny sayings like, does McDonald's sell burger Sundays? Or kill cross magic? This is another one of those funny sayings. Nobody wants anybody to be a murderer, but you're going to see why I say that in a second, okay? Also, these problems are called stuff. Whatever stuff you have divided by the number of people you have. Or you can think of it like this. Stuff divided into containers. Containers. Maybe into cups or different things. It all depends on the situation of the word problem. Okay? So let's do this. Let's write 12 friends. 12 friends share 3 melons equally. How much does each friend get? So you're like, I don't know, 4, 12, 3, 4. So what you do is you just go stuff over people. So ready? Let's go like this. Stuff over people. So how much stuff is there? See, look at some kids right now would have put 12 over 3. No. How much stuff is there? 3 melons. How many people are there? 12 people. So look, you have more people than you have stuff. So each person is not getting their own whole thing. They can't, because you have more people than you have stuff. Now, this is what also for this lesson, we're going to talk about reducing fractions. Taking this fraction and making it smaller. Okay, so over here, we're going to write 3 rules to look at to make a number smaller. 1, these are things you want to check, okay? check to see if you can divide. This one's the most common. Divide by the top number. Number 2, if that doesn't work, try to divide by 2. If that doesn't work, try to divide by 3. If that doesn't work, then you're just going to have to see if there's a multiple of it. But that can be confusing. So usually this will work. So let's go like this. Can I make this smaller? Well, can you divide the top by 3? Yes. Does that also equal for the bottom? Because remember, whatever you do to the top, you have to do the bottom. Can you also divide 12 by 3? Yes. So each person, if you took 3 melons and split them, each person would get 1/4 of a melon. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, what if we said this? 3 students share 8 blocks of clay. How much does each person get? Well, again, what you want to do here is you want to go always stuff over people. If they're sharing or putting things into containers, we want to do stuff over people. So how much stuff is there? Is there 3 stuff or 6? So there's 8 blocks, so that's got to go on top. And then that's being split by the 3 people. You see that? Stuff over people. Again, the numbers are reversed in the way they'd be here, but it's not always like that. That's why you got to take the stuff and then the people. Now, we don't leave numbers where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So remember, all fractions are division problems. 8 divided by 3 equals 2, which would get us 6. Remainder 2/3. So how many blocks of clay does each student get? 2 blocks of clay to their own, and then they share the third one. They each get 2 little slices. Does that make sense? Well, let's see. There's more stuff than there is people. So yes, they're going to get their own thing. All right, let's take a look at a couple from your workbook. So if you would please open your workbook to page 367. Now, if you don't have your workbook, you can actually really honestly just watch along with me. Okay, so I already did these 2 right here, numbers 3 and 4. Let's look at 5 and 6. 4 students share 7 feet of ribbon equally. How many feet of ribbon does each student get? Now look what they did. They already wrote it for you. But how do you write that as a fraction? Well, remember, this is how you write it. 7, see, the first number goes on top, divided by, remember, the fraction bar is divided by 4. 7 divided by 4. Well, the top is bigger than the bottom. How many 4s go into 7? 1, remainder 3/4. So each student will get 1 3/4. All right, let's just do one more. 8 girls share 5 fruit bars. They already wrote it for you. 5 divided by 8. So let's do 5 divided by 8. See, 5 divided by 8. Now, this one's crazy to me because I want to do more work, but there's no more work to do. That's it. How much does each student get? 5/8. We will practice more of these. They can be confusing. Just remember, stuff over people. Oh, I never told you why don't be a murderer. Okay? The common thing people will do, let's go back to this one. Just here, let me put it in red because you should not do it. If you don't write stuff over people, this is what kids do. They go, oh, 12, because that's the first number they see. And then they see a 3, so they go 12 divided by 3, and they're like, easy. Each person gets 4. Right? 12 divided by 3 is 4. But the reason I say don't be a murderer is because look what you did. Think of the actual problem. You took 12 people and you divided them into melons. How could you take the 12 people, chop them up, and put them into melons? No. Don't be a murderer. This actually is a bigger thing when I see this mistake a lot when we start getting ready for the California State test. Kids mixing this up and not doing stuff over people, even though we learned it, then I warn them and go, hey, don't be a murderer. And they're like, oh, shoot, I messed up. So that just helps you. All right, let's take a look at our homework. and then we will be done with this video. Your homework is going to be 368, sorry. Let me find it here. It's in Google Classroom. Come on, I can do it. Okay, there it is. 368A. 368A. Now here's the thing. What I would write right now on that page is stuff over people. To help you remember on all of these, it's not just what number comes first. Also, all of these are actually set up for you. I'll just do this first one really quick. Because remember, the top number goes on top. 7 divided by 10. And actually, that one can't even be made smaller. You're done already. So this page will not take you long. All right, thank you, 5th graders. Have a great Tuesday. Great Tuesday.